Good Saturday morning and welcome to another edition of the award-winning Outdoors with Larry Ray.
Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency.
Now, here's your host, Larry Ray.
Hey, good Saturday morning. Welcome to Outdoors with Larry Ray on this April the 20th. We're past tax time. Either you got an extension like I did or you had a big Monday, it seems like. But this is third Saturday, and he is here. He's got his Master Nationals hat on. I should have worn mine, and we could have had matching caps on. It's my good friend Frank Barton. Good morning, Frank. And we're going to have fun. Shelby McCall, of course, is taking care of us. And as we talk, a pretty variety of guests on the show this morning. And I hope you folks out in Brownsville and Jackson and Memphis and throughout the Mid-South enjoy it, because Frank's lined us up a guest himself for the first segment. We're going to talk to Mike Perry. And, Frank, that is a friend of yours with the Master Nationals, right? I mean,
he is.
And you discovered he has another sidelight, though.
Mike has an entrepreneurial streak about as wide as mine.
And what is – I'm not going to ask yours.
And now he's making crappie jigs.
He's making crappie jigs. And so we're going to talk to Mike Perry, and he lives in where? Where does he live?
He's an Alabama boy.
He's an Alabama guy. Okay. We're going to talk to Mike Perry. And then, yes, I've been talking about that. We are going to finally hook up with Molly Nugent, world-class archer, talking about her trips and what she does. And she's been overcoming a thing called, well, I'm going to let Molly tell you because it's pretty amazing. It's called target panic or anxiety. And she, at one time, was 39th in the world, and she is doing all sorts of things. She was at the Pan Am Games, where our good friend Joella Bates was. But Molly's out of Arizona. Good friends at the USA Archery hooked us up. We're going to talk to Molly Nugent. Taylor Wood, he is the founder and CEO of the U.S. Association of Gun Owners, a new member benefit organization based out of Georgia. So we're going to talk to Taylor. Then Jose Jimenez, yes, he is the brand new Arkansas Game and Fish Chief of Recreational Shooting Sports. And wow, does he have a background. And we're really looking forward to talking to Jose about not only shooting sports, which is just going crazy in the high school world and all the rest of it. So we'll talk to him. And then it's time again. I think we talked to this guy about 3 years ago, but it's time to talk carp fishing. And we don't have Ron Wong here to talk carp fishing, so it's going to be me and Frank talking carp fishing. But this is also a time of the year, second weekend of the turkey season in Tennessee, but it's also Sultana time, right?
It is time. We talk about Sultana this time of year. At least I do.
Because this,
every year.
Well, you've got a reason, because your great, is it three greats?
Great-great-grandfather.
Great-great-grandfather, Tom or John, what was his name?
Franklin,
yeah, Franklin, is part of the story, and you do really need to keep up with, we're about the midway point in the story, and Frank does this. How long have you been doing this now?
Oh, with the Facebook post, I think I'm coming up on 8 years, I think, that I started doing it on Facebook.
So you take us through, and you need to go to Frank Barton's Facebook page to get this. But
it's the only reason to go to my Facebook page.
No, it isn't. You do have some dog stuff on there, too, sometimes. But it's a fascination because, like he said, he has found out during his studies about his family's ties to the Sultana, which is still the
greatest maritime disaster in the United States history.
Right.
And people don't know about it.
And it happened right north of Memphis a little ways.
Just a few miles north of Memphis, April 27th, 1865.
1865, April 27th. So you see that, and Frank, we can talk about that because I don't know. It takes you a while to do this, Frank. I know.
Well, it's a little bit easier now. Most of the work started about 6 to 8 years ago when I started writing it and adding to it, and I don't add that much right now. I try and tweak it a little bit, and nothing is exactly like it was last year because I try and
So you're not just copy and pasting and picking up last year.
No, I try and add things
that you've learned
that I have learned during the year.
And we know that the museum is.
We are working on we started the demolition for the museum.
All right.
About 30 days ago.
Okay.
And our goal is to have the new museum opened this time. Well, open in time for the anniversary.
April the
27th
of next 2025.
Of 2025. That's our goal, is to have the museum open by then.
And it has been, the old building's been knocked down.
Well, it's not knocked down. It's the old gymnasium in Marion, which is
the Marion High School old gymnasium.
Old where Marion High School used to play.
Yeah,
and
I know that building.
It's an old WPA project for those history people to remember.
Yeah. What was it back in those days?
It was. You know? It was built as a gymnasium, but it was built with using WPA money and funding.
So they didn't just build dams and things like that.
No, they did other things. So anyway, we've gutted the inside of the building. The demolition is going on right now for that, and then we will start rehabbing the inside and creating a new front on Military Road that will look very attractive and modern and inviting.
It's on Military Road on the
which will be Highway 64 is another way of looking at it, but it's the main drag through Marion.
And it'll be on which side of the railroad tracks?
It'll be on the west side of the railroad tracks and on the north side of the road.
Okay, and it's going to be a beautiful facility. How much?
Looking forward to it. It's we're going to be just a little over $9 million in construction. We're at $6 million budgeted for the part that we're in right now, and then we got another $2.5-3 million
and
for building the exhibits.
There's been books written about it, and I've read most of the books. Jerry Potter.
Jerry Potter.
Yeah, Jerry Potter.
Here in Memphis.
Because I'm up on this. I read it. You know, you see him.
I feel like I've accomplished something with you, Larry.
I'm a history man, so this is really interesting to me. From the Vicksburg side on up, what happens down there and brings the Sultana.
So in a nutshell, we got a boat that was with a legal carrying capacity of 376 people, I think is what it was.
And over 1,500.
And somewhere between 1,500 actually somewhere probably between 1,800 and 2,200 people were on board.
Wow.
Were put on there. There's a picture that was taken at Helena just a few days before the tragedy occurred, and it's an incredible picture of all those people,
Union soldiers,
all those men, Union soldiers going home
after being in prison,
headed to Cairo.
Yeah, headed to Cairo, Illinois.
They were going to unload at Cairo and go out to.
Some of them survived.
Yes, and we're still.
And that's why your great-grandfather was...
Great-great-grandfather was one of the people that rescued
New Hope?
people.
What's the name of that place where they rescued them? I'm asking,
Yeah. No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
He was one of the people that rescued, along with some cousins of mine, the Fogelman family.
The Fogelman family.
They also rescued people out there. And we're still there was a lot of discussion and guessing about how many people were on board and how many people died. We'll really never know how many people were on board because the record keeping was very sloppy.
Never found the boat either.
We know where the boat is.
We do know.
It's buried under right now. It's
silt and stuff.
Buried underneath about 25-30 feet of Arkansas farmland.
So okay.
But where it came to rest, it built up a sandbar around it. And as I talk about it, the Sultana forever changed the course of the Mississippi River in this part of the country.
Really?
Okay. Because of that, and
it's pretty cool.
It's more people died on it than the Titanic, but everybody knows about the Titanic.
That's for sure. They made a movie about it,
and nobody knows about it. I mean, it's just
never been a movie about
it. No movie about it. The country forgot these men.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to do something
fascinating
to make what happened forever be relevant in the minds of people here in the country.
Well, you're doing a great job on the Facebook page for that. Frank Barton, Barton, and you can look those things up. I know our commission meeting, it was this going on Thursday and Friday. We'll have all that on next week's show, kind of give you an update on that. But I know they were meeting, setting days and the hunting days and all these different kind of things. And you can watch that on tnwildlife.org. I'm fascinated in watching those commission meetings because in the old days we used to have to travel and everything, and we don't do that right now. But we do know that the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, we'll throw this out there because Frank, being a Marion businessman, here's what they did primarily: removal restrictions on spinning wing decoys and motion decoys on the Arkansas Game and Fish owned wildlife management areas, reducing the daily bag limit on mallard hens from 2 to 1, and modifying the proposed white-fronted goose season to be 69 days and reducing the white-fronted goose daily limit to 2 per day. And you can go to LarryRay.com and get all the information from that. But they're going to set all these things up when their commission meets on May 16th in El Dorado, and we'll have all that on that. But let's take our first break of the morning, and Frank's going to help me out because we're going to talk to Mike Perry, not only about the Master Nationals and the dog of his that I read about, but also about making crappie jigs. We'll be right back on Outdoors with Larry Ray.
Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 AM.
Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife and Resources Agency.
Hey, good Saturday morning. Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on this April 20th, 2024. Good morning to all you folks in Brownsville on 95.3 FM and 1520 AM. And, of course, Jackson, News Talk 101.5 FM. Of course, right here in Memphis every Saturday morning from 9 to 10:30 on AM 790, 92.9 HD FM. And, we got a guest on right now that Frank Barton suggested because he is familiar with this next guy. Why don't you introduce this next guest for us, Frank?
Well, we've got from Alabama, actually, but he's not in Alabama right now.
He's in Georgia.
He's in Georgia.
Okay.
We've got Mike Perry. And I've known Mike for a number of years, primarily from the dog sport side of things. Mike campaigns dogs like I do.
Yes.
He also judges dogs like I do. Mike also is a field rep for Garmin. Used to be Tritronics.
Our good friends at Garmin. Yes.
On the canine side of things.
Yes.
With collars and things like that. But then Mike calls me he calls me up one day, I don't know, 2 months ago, something like that, and said, "Hey, just want to let you know I've started a new project. I'm building crappie jigs." And and I'm thinking, like, you needed something else to do, Mike. But that was the first thought. And then the second thought was, I need to get Mike hooked up with Larry.
And you have.
And get him on the radio show.
You have.
So that's
what
we've done.
We're talking to Mike Perry of the conglomeration of Mike Perry Crappie Jigs, that he has a staff of how many, Mike?
There's three of us.
That's three of you. Yeah, that's right.
Three of us work in a jig company now.
Well, let's talk about it. But I do know, Mike, that your connection with you and Frank goes back a long way. And, of course, I should have worn my Master Nationals hat like he's got on right now, but I wore my Sea Ark boat cap in here. But I looked it up, Mike, and I have now officially become a fan of Running Rebels Dabo, okay?
Yeah, well, thank you.
Yes.
And he would thank you also. His name is Dabo. I named him after Dabo Swinney.
That's what
he was born. He was born in 2016, shortly after Clemson won the national championship, and so his call name is
Tiger. I said, how did you get Tiger? And I looked, Dabo, Tiger, Clemson. Okay. So,
so there you go.
So now talk about this this basement operation here, because we talk crappie fishing a lot on this show over 2 decades, and why? How did you get into this, and why? What's your deal with this?
Sure. I spend a whole lot of my time, like Frank does, training my retriever dogs and competing with them on a national level.
Yes.
My dog Tiger that we were talking about there, he's successfully completed the Master National Hunt Test, which is the AKC Retriever Championship 4 times in a row now, and he has completed the Hunting Retriever Club Grand Championship 3 times in a row. He's a very, very, very nice dog. But I had been training Tiger and my other dogs. I have 6 retrievers altogether on a controlled shooting preserve in Alabama.
Uh-huh.
And the man that owned that is a good friend of mine. He's a dentist, and he likes to do outdoor stuff like I do. And about 4 or 5 years ago, I was crappie fishing with my friend Rodney.
Yeah.
And he was having the hardest time getting his line through his jig eyes on his crappie jigs.
Right.
And we fish the way we fish for him. We fish for him in cover and brush piles like everybody else does. And
yeah.
It's not unusual at all to lose your jigs. You're fishing with light line in cover and around bushes, and they get hung up, and you just pop the line there and break them off and tie another one on. So he was fussing about all the jigs he was buying had paint in the eyes.
Yes.
And so so I said, well, let me see if I can't fix that. So I started painting some jigs, and I figured out a way how to powder coat these jigs and double bake them.
Yeah.
So that there's no paint in the eyes, which for fishermen to just be able to reach his tackle box, grab that 1/8 or 16th ounce or 32nd ounce jig, stick the line through it, tie it on, and cast it is a big advantage. And then one thing led to another, and then I started doing some hand ties. And we're a pretty small company. I think in the big picture, we make about between $800 and $1,000 a week.
Okay.
And,
all right.
And I make enough money on it to pay for my entry fees in the dog games and to pay for my dog food.
And so, what do you call them? What's your What's the name of your jigs?
It's DixieCustomLures.com is how you can find us on the internet.
DixieCustomLures.com. And that name came in because you are in Dixie.
Yes, I am. Yeah,
I'm assuming. And so, how many colors do you offer then?
Whatever somebody wants to buy, I can make.
You can make. Okay.
If somebody emailed me and said I'd like to have some 16th ounce jigs with chartreuse heads, and white bodies and yellow tails, then I can put them together. Chartreuse head, white body, and yellow tails. And I powder coat my own jigs, and like I said a minute ago, I double bake them so that if the crappies are up under a dock or under a boat or whatever, even if when you throw your jig up there and you hit the dock post or the pontoon boat or whatever, the paint doesn't chip off of it; it stays right on it.
And so, and you make sure that you can get that line through it, right? I mean,
yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah,
yep. I've got since we powder coat. I buy the jigs. I don't make the jigs. You can buy unpainted crappie jigs pretty cheap.
Yes.
And and frankly, I'm buying them by the hundreds, and so I just buy them. But I've got a way that we powder coat them to keep the paint out of the hook eye, and then there we go. So that's kind of the deal with it.
Is this something you've been involved with dogs? I'm assuming a long time.
Yeah, over 20 years.
Yeah. So is this something you're back of your mind? It just happened that day with your friend that you said, "I think I'll do this." I mean,
I was retired. I used to own a Zaxby's restaurant.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough to be able to retire at a relatively fairly young age, and have some time on my hands. And like I said, I spend a lot of time chasing around with these dogs. And then that Roddy and I were fishing, and when he was fussing with trying to get his jig tied on there and couldn't get it because it had
that's the way.
I said, that may be an opportunity for me.
And there it came.
I jumped right on it, and there we go. So
and now what's I know you're a crappie fisherman, I assume. I mean, do you?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
You don't get caught with some other jig. I mean, you use yours then.
Absolutely. Yeah, it'd be silly. Silly for me to use.
I wouldn't want you. So what's the biggest crappie you ever caught?
2.8.
You got a 2.8. Yeah.
Yes, 2.8 on a scale, and I have a photograph of it, and I've not been able to crack that 3-pound mark yet. And for the private ponds that I fish, there are 2 ponds that I fish in mainly. One of them is very, very clear.
Yeah.
And it mainly has white crappie in it.
Yes.
And I have to fish with those crappie with a 16th ounce jig that's white or silver or light color.
Uh-huh.
And that does real well for me over there. And then the other one, the water is a little bit more stained.
Yeah.
And I do very well over there with more natural color, gray and green type jigs.
So what's your rod and reel preference? What are you using?
Okay, so I'm using a 7-foot light action rod with a fast tip on it.
Yeah.
I use Daiwa spinning reels and 4-pound Bass Pro Shop.
There you go.
Braided line.
Braided line. Well, this is and you do this in your basement. Is that right? I mean, is it right there? I mean,
well,
what is this?
My kids. One of them is. I have 2 sons. One's 40 and one's 37. The 40-year-old lived with us till about 6 or 7 years ago when he finally got married, got out on his own.
Okay.
And so and he was living in the basement of our house. My wife and I, we have a 5-bedroom, 3-bath house, so he was living in the basement. When he cleared out, basically, I had 2,000 square feet down there with nothing to do, and
that became the home of the Dixie Custom Lures, right?
That's right. Yep, that's where we tie our jigs now. We do our jig painting, and that's where we tie them up down there in the basement of the house.
Now we know you can get it through Dixie Custom Lures. Are you on eBay or any place?
No, just if you just go to my website, Dixie Custom Lures, and there's about 50 different color combinations.
There you go. Yeah.
Shown on there right now.
Yeah.
And you can click on it. And you can buy them. The way that we make and manufacture them, Larry, is we pack them 3 to the pack.
Okay.
And then and primarily, I'm tying 16th ounce and 1/32 ounce jigs. That's the 16th is by far the most popular. I pack them 3 to the pack, and then I can ship them post office or UPS anywhere in the country. And from the time somebody orders one to the time they get them is usually about 6, 7, 8 days.
So now
it'll be a little longer right now since I'm going to be tied up down here in Georgia for the next week.
So we can pretty well say, Frank, when we order something from Mike, there's a pretty good chance that not only the founder and president and the CEO of Custom Dixie Lures probably sent that to me. Now, how many?
That's right.
How many lure companies do we know, Frank, that you can get it direct from the? That's
all I'm thinking about is, I know how Bass Pro got started.
You know how Bass Pro got started.
I know how Bass Pro got started.
Mike's, it's going to be. You're not going to give up dogs, are you, Mike? I mean,
my wife. I'm 70 years old and still act like I'm 40.
You're just a pup. You're just a pup here.
Yeah. My wife thinks I should have quit the dogs 10 years ago, and I think I got 20 years left.
There you go, Frank.
We had dinner together last weekend.
Yeah.
And we spent a great deal of time talking about puppies.
Oh, you talk puppies.
The 2 of us.
All right, we got to get out here, Mike. Mike Perry, thank you, buddy. Great. And again, folks, now you can go to the CustomDixieLures.com. We'll have all this on LarryRay.com, and go help the man out. You know, who else can you get a 3-pack of jigs straight from the man himself? So I don't guess you got an autograph, do you, Mike, or anything like that?
Well, I might be able to work something out for you, Larry, if I had your address. So.
I'll get your address, and I want to see a picture of that 2.8-pound crappie too. Okay?
That'd be great. I'll send it to you.
All right, buddy. Thank you, Mike Perry. All right,
sir, Larry. Have
a great day. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back on Outdoors with Larry Ray.
Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 AM.
Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife and Resources Agency.
Hey, good Saturday morning. Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray here on AM 790 right here in the middle of Memphis as we go into our 24th year on the air. And you folks out there know I'm fascinated by archery. I'm fascinated by the sport of this thing, and we've had Katrina, I can't remember her name, and maybe my next guest can, that taught Jennifer Lawrence how to shoot in the Hunger Games, and she's been on this show. Of course, we've had Kim Rohde, we've had other people like that, and we welcome on Outdoors with Larry Ray this Saturday morning, Molly Nugent. And I've been trying to get Molly on the air because of the great folks at USA Archery with Sarah Boyd and all those folks out there have supplied us guests over the years. And Molly really has a story to tell. And we're going to get her right before she gets on a plane to go to Shanghai, China. So welcome to Outdoors with Larry Ray, Molly Nugent. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for inviting me. I'm really looking forward to talking to you.
Well, we appreciate it, too. I know you're heading off to Shanghai, but what really captivated me, Molly, and you've been so successful in your career, I looked it up here. I've been as high as 39th in recurve women. You were at the Pan Am Games, won the gold down there last November, and your career has really been fascinating where you've gone. But when I got the story from Sarah about a situation that you've had to deal with, it really I wanted to talk to you about that before you take off to China and go for the gold in Shanghai. Talk about this mental side to the sport of archery and what you call target panic. Talk about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so target panic is when you are so trying to get perfect in everything that you're doing, your shot, your mental, everything like that, and your mind sort of freaks out because you're trying to be so perfect. I've struggled with it the last few years, and it's really challenging. They have a similar thing in golf called the yips. So
yes, I've got it. So you're helping me out right now. I know the yips. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you hooked up with someone that really played an important part in your life, right? I mean,
yes.
Talk about that.
My coach, Judy Adams, she's a two-time Olympian, 1980 and 1996 Olympics.
Yes.
And she went through a lot of target panic in her day because she was supposed to go to the 80 games, but unfortunately the U.S. did not go to those because they were in Russia.
That's
so
right.
She kept trying to go and ended up going to the 96 Atlanta games. So she really persevered, and I've learned a lot from her.
And so what happens when you have these attacks? I mean, it looks to me like you were doing really great. I mean, but you were waiting till the very end. We all know the pressure. I don't know how you guys do this because of the pressure of doing it in a certain period of time. What was going on in your mind to make you have to have these attacks?
Well, so a few years ago, I ended up going from winning a local tournament, and within 6 months, I won a national event.
And
because
in 6
of
months.
that, in 6 months, So because of that success so quickly at such a turnaround, it freaked my mind out. My mind said, "What is going on? I can't believe I'm a national champion." 6 months ago, I won my first local event. That's absolutely crazy. So my mind freaked out a little bit, and I had to kind of relearn how to shoot because of that, because it was no longer smooth and subconscious. There was a lot of brain activity happening. I was overthinking everything, and that's sort of how the target panic started.
So what's the key to not doing that? What do you think about when you're up there? Do you try to blank everything out? Because I know I've got some friends in the shooting competitions the same way. They only have certain amount of times to do this. So what's going through your mind as you're setting up?
When I'm setting up, I focus on one thing and one thing only. So a lot of the times it'll be to expand through my clicker. So to be able to shoot my shot, obviously, at full draw, really focus on forward movement towards the target and backward movement with my arm to get through the clicker to shoot the shot. That's usually what I'm thinking about. But it is really tough. It's putting yourself in those hard situations in practice. Like, I know for me, there's a lot of noises that happen, and I have to really put myself in those situations with loud noises. My coach is usually behind me saying weird stuff and just making random noises just so I have that experience.
And I know I was reading about this, age 7 or 8 with the Girl Scouts. Did you ever, in your wildest dreams, what are you, 25 now? Are you 25? Is that close?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did your wildest dreams say at age 7 or 8 that this is where this was going to take you? Because I know you're a small business owner, right? You've done things like that. So talk about from being that little kid to where you are now.
Yeah, so, I mean, going to Girl Scout camp at 7 or 8 and just trying out archery, I did not think I would be where I'm at today with archery on the national team, the World Cup team, helping Team USA get their spots for Paris. But, you know, I knew since I was 2 years old, to be honest, that I wanted to go to the Olympics.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. There's a video of me for the 2001 Salt Lake City Games dancing around, watching ice skating when I was 2 years old. And I knew from that moment I wanted to go to the Olympics. I just didn't know what sport. So it took until I was 7 or 8 trying archery and then getting really into it when I was about 12 and competing and things like that. It took a while, and I was definitely, you know, late trying to figure out what sport I liked, but I'm really glad I stuck with it, and I just absolutely love archery. I absolutely love shooting my bow every day. And
you have become, I know, an example for a lot of young women and things like that, and the archery shooting sports is going crazy. I can't tell you, I think we had over 1,000 kids in Tennessee at the state championships with shooting the bow and things along that. So what's going on with this sport in your mind?
I think it's really growing. I mean, it's getting popularity from things like Marvel movies. You have Hawkeye, and obviously like Katniss is coming back again. They're doing more Hunger Games reboots.
Yes.
There's a lot going on with archery, and you're seeing the competition grow. You're seeing the women's side competitiveness grow in the U.S. alone, and it's already really competitive. So it's great to see that, you know, the sport is growing both for the men and women's side, but also for the women's side. We're getting very competitive. It's getting a lot tougher to make a national team and a World Cup team, which is great. We want to be number one in the world. The U.S. wants to be on top, right? So it's definitely really cool to see these young kids come in, and for the whole side of the women to come up and be really competitive against each other.
You feel like a veteran at 25?
A little bit. I definitely, I feel like that more and more, actually. I was the oldest one in Olympic trials, and it's definitely feeling kind of funny at 25.
To be amazing like this. Now, you're on your way to Shanghai. We're talking to you not too many hours before you take off for Shanghai in the stage 1 of the World Cup. What about this? Are you? This event has been one of the priorities on your target for 2024. So talk about what's going to happen in Shanghai.
I'm hoping to win the gold for sure. I'm working really hard right now. I just came back from Colombia a couple days ago for the Pan American Championships, and got top 10 in the qualifications, which isn't too shabby.
Not too shabby for a 25-year-old. So
and just worked really hard and practiced more and more. Got home, practiced since I've been home, and then heading off to Shanghai to get a little of official practice in before we start the competition. So I'm very excited for what's to come in Shanghai.
And Shanghai is the 23rd through the 28th. I've got it here on my calendar here for the World Cup. And so how many rounds? How many arrows you shoot in a year?
In a year, oh my gosh, that's such a tough question. I probably shoot between 3,000 to 4,000 a month.
Yeah, a month. You hear that, Frank? Frank's he's my co-host here, and he's listening to this. And I was going to say probably 3,000 a month. I'm not, but that seems like a a lot. So you have some great support, right? Don't you? I mean.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Everyone from all my friends to, my family, extended family. My coach is definitely like number one supporter. Anything I need, anytime I need to talk to her, she's there. And it's absolutely amazing. I'm so glad I have a coach like her.
What about your equipment? Who do we need to mention here? Equipment-wise.
Oh, yeah. So my bow is a win bow from Korea.
Yes.
And I have a Shibuya sight from Japan.
Yeah.
My finger tab is Fairweather from Australia. Got Easton arrows from the U.S. Biter equipment from Germany and all of that. So really love my sponsors. They've been so supportive the last few years and continuing on for this year to come and the next, hopefully.
I know Easton. So what are you shooting? I mean, what's if somebody asks you what kind of bow are you shooting? You're shooting an Easton what? I mean, what's the name of your bow?
Yeah, I'm shooting Easton X10 arrows, and then my bow is a Win Meta DX, so it's a carbon bow. Okay. Actually, it's really cool.
It's pretty cool. I've seen the picture of it and everything, and then the elevation of the sport itself, Molly. I know that to see the equipment. What have you seen equipment-wise that has made the sport even more popular?
Oh, made the sport even more popular. I would say just, every year it's getting better and better. I love my bow sponsor, Win. They make foam limbs that really help with the heat. And because obviously I live in Arizona and the heat's crazy sometimes.
Yes.
So it keeps my bow maintained to the level I want all the time. Carbon risers. I'm one of the few that shoots them, but I absolutely love them. My bow is absolutely silent. And also I would mention as well, Archery Path, which is a company that does tuning, has really helped me the last few years. It's a totally different way of tuning your bow, and I think it's given me a really good advantage the last few years.
So how can our folks out there in the Memphis area keep up with Molly Nugent? What do they need to go to?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram and Facebook. On Instagram, my handle is Molly Archery, and on Facebook, you can search Molly Nugent Archery, and I'll pop up. And obviously, would love to hear from anybody if they have any questions. If they want to send me a DM, I would love to answer anything for them.
That's great. I'll tell you what, Molly, after you win the Gold Cup, we'll talk to you later, okay? All right?
Okay.
How about that?
Good.
Is that okay with you? All right?
Sounds great to me. I'll see you then.
Okay. Thanks, Molly. Have a great time and safe travels to Shanghai. And we don't believe in good luck. Just go over and do what you do, okay?
Okay. Thank you so much, Larry. Have a good day.
Thank you. All right. Molly Nugent. Let's take a break on Outdoors with Larry Ray. Be right back.
Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 AM.
Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife and Resources Agency.
Hey, good Saturday morning. Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on AM 790 right here in Memphis every Saturday morning from 9 to 10:30. And also in Jackson and Brownsville and all throughout the Mid-South as we roll toward our 24th year on the air. And I always like to use my good folks at Source Outdoor Group, Blake Tabb, suggesting guests. And, of course, we're very varied, as you can tell, but already today we've been to Georgia and we've been to Arizona, and now we're going back to Georgia because there's a new company, a new organization now. It's called the United States Association of Gun Owners, and we've got the founder and the CEO with us. That's Taylor Wood. Good morning, Taylor.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Thank you for being with us, Taylor. Let's talk about this organization because you're basically, 2 years old? Is that about right?
So, yeah, we launched originally about a year ago. So we've kind of been on the ground here for about a year, but kind of prep started about 2 years ago. Yes, sir.
Well, let's talk about why. And what purpose are you guys serving? So talk about the organization.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me here, Larry.
Yes.
So mainly the purpose of USA Go is it's a member benefit organization. So it's a new organization that our entire focus is just providing benefit for gun owners and outdoor enthusiasts.
Okay. Yeah.
We provide a lot of educational resources, training resources, member-only community, and lots of benefits in terms of product pricing.
Yes.
So we kind of leverage our buying power across all of our members and are able to achieve kind of industry low pricing on brands we all know and trust.
What's did you what hit this off? What made you want to do this? Yeah, I mean, because you're a electrical engineer. You told me you're a graduate of Georgia Institute of Technology, which we know as Georgia Tech, and you got 4 kids. And
Yes,
talk about this. What made you? What launched you on this path?
Well, I've always loved the outdoors, Larry, and just been a gun owner my whole life. Grew up in that kind of family. Father introduced me to hunting and fishing and things like that at a very young age, and went on and, like you said, went to Tech and graduated from there, and kind of got in the workforce and realized, like, I love doing engineering work. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it was a big challenge for me as well. But there was also a big challenge in starting your own business, kind of going out on your own, trying to do something.
That's right. Yeah.
So that was always appealing to me in some regard, and kind of a lot of things came together with the passing of my sister, and just some things kind of going on in our world at the time around firearms and in that whole community. So we won't get into all of that right now, but it just kind of pushed me into a path of creating a community. So it kind of really started as a small Facebook community.
It did. Okay. Yeah.
I created a little Facebook community, and it kind of grew from there. So I love bringing like-minded people together.
Yes.
Bringing people together that support the Second Amendment, that enjoy hunting and fishing, being outdoors, things like that. Those are my people. Those are our people.
Yeah, they're our people, too, on Outdoors with Larry Ray. And again, we're talking to Taylor Wood. He is the founder and CEO of the U.S. Association of Gun Owners, which I really like because it really comes out USA Go.
USA Go.
When you look at it, and that's what you guys are doing. So with it's only been a year. And a year ago, before that, you were trying to put this thing together. Mm-hmm. What's the reception so far? And we're glad to always help people, particularly like-minded people. So how's the reception been?
It's been great, Larry. It's been great. We've been partnering with different people in the firearms community and great people like yourself to kind of just get our name out there a little bit, spread our message, hopefully invite folks to come check us out and see if there's any benefits that we can provide them. So again, we're not a political organization at all.
That's what I want you to say. Yeah.
We're not.
You are not the NRA, okay?
NRA, and we don't have any plans to do that. There are great people on those fronts that are fighting those battles, and we support those organizations, and I personally support those organizations, some of those organizations.
Yeah.
But our main goal is to bring people into our community so they can find like-minded people to connect with, engage with. And then we also do a lot of fun stuff, like we do member-only giveaways every month.
Yes, you do. I noticed you do those. And you're also the shooting sports are just exploding, no pun intended here. I know for young people, and whether it's male or female, this is a good time to get this going, isn't it, Taylor? You picked a good time. I guess you looked at that and said, "Hey, man, the sport itself, shooting sports are going strong. You're in the Southeast, which your kind of people, our kind of people."
Yes, sir.
And so you're reaching out to companies. Have you been able to looking at your website and things along? And we'll give that information out before we let you go. But it looks like you got some pretty strong backers already coming on board with you.
We've had great reception from the firearms community, from America, and I mean, we're a nationwide. We're not just designated to the Southeast or anything like that.
That's right. Yeah.
We provide value and content, and we ship firearms, ammunition, and gear all over the country every day. So we've got a local warehouse here in Georgia. We partner with other warehouses across the country, so we have a distributed warehouse network, and it's just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Members of USA Go, they tell us, and we know what the price they're providing and that they love to tell us about. But it's really cool to see on products like you said in the shooting sports.
Yeah,
things that you're going to buy normally. You go out to the range or you go out on a trip.
Yeah.
You're going to have gear, and usually those trips and those ranges, there's fees associated with everything.
Yeah.
So we offset that fee a little bit for those gun enthusiasts, outdoor enthusiasts, to go and spend that time and make it a little easier for them to go do that. Like that's really what we're about. And
it sounds like it. So how do people get involved? What's the cost here? Tell our listeners a little bit about how do they get involved?
Yeah, of course. So, like you said, there is a cost. It is a member organization.
Mm-hmm.
You can start for as low as $10 a month.
Okay.
$10 a month, and you get full access to the majority of our benefits.
Yes.
We have low price promise on anything you buy. Select products shipped for free. Guns are all shipped for free. Firearms always shipped free. Great access, to our community and our training courses and content and things like that. Of course, the fun things like the member-only giveaways. We have coffee club, T-shirt club. All these
do, yeah. And all that's listed. Where do they go for information?
We'd love to have you check us out at usago.org.
That's it, simple, folks. It's really usago.org. And go to that. There's a lot of member benefits and things along that line. And Taylor, we appreciate you being on Outdoors with Larry Ray. We'll post all this on my website, LarryRay.com. And I guess you got a Facebook page and other things, Taylor?
We do, yes, sir. We're on social media as well. You can find us at USAGO.
There you go. Thank you, Taylor. Always good to talk to you. We'll stay in touch, buddy. Okay, have a great day. All right?
You too.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, Taylor Wood. And, I looked it up, and they've got some pretty good, impressive companies involved in that, and so it's always good to have outlets. It seems like people want to get together in a forum-like thing, discuss things, and I'm sure we can do that. We do that on Outdoors with Larry Ray. You have your group that you discuss things with, and firearms are pretty important in your.
Oh, we're a shooting sport.
You're a shooting sport, aren't you?
Yeah, we it's part of it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't realize that, and that's what this is for. So give Taylor Wood a crack at that, so to speak, and that's the United States Association of Gun Owners, or as he said, usago.org, and you can find out all that information. And Frank, I know that what you got going on. Anything coming up for you?
Let's see.
Goose got qualified last week, you say?
Goose is qualified, so I can not run him anymore.
Okay.
Still trained, but just don't have to go to tests with him. And then Hershey needs 2, so we'll be in Gilmer, Texas.
Gilmer, Texas,
just the other side of Texarkana.
Okay.
And then back down, let's see, the next weekend we will back down to Demopolis, Alabama for another event there.
You're on the road.
And then the following week we'll be home for the Mid-South Hunting Retriever Club's test in Olive Branch.
And that's coming up?
That'll be the first weekend in May.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. And it's open to the public?
And sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Where is that at?
It's right off of Bethel Road.
Okay.
In Olive Branch. If you go to the Mid-South Hunting Retriever Club's Facebook page.
That's what I want you to say.
Yeah. We'll have information there on it. And it's Saturday and Sunday.
First weekend in May, then.
First weekend in May, we'll have a master test that'll start Saturday, and a senior test that'll start Saturday, and a junior test that'll start on Sunday.
Is there a season for this?
Well, it is. When it's warm but not too warm. So
when it gets hot in June, July.
When it gets hot, there are a few tests. There are a few tests that'll be that you'll see in June, but you won't see anything around here in July and August. And then late September it'll start back up, and it'll run then through about the end of November.
And you don't have to do the book anymore.
For the Master National, I'm not doing the book this year.
Is that a 1-year deal?
For the new person?
Yeah.
I don't know yet.
Okay.
With her.
Okay.
I'm not throwing away any of my notes.
You don't throw any of
I'm
your
not throwing
notes
my
around.
notes away.
All right, let's take a next break. We got a real special guest coming up talking about shooting sports. We'll be right back on Outdoors with Larry Ray.
Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 AM.
Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife and Resources Agency.
Good Saturday morning, everyone. Once again, it is Outdoors. That is the award-winning Outdoors with Larry Ray show. All things you'd want to find out about the outdoors, you can hear about it here.
Yes.
Whether it be camping,
yes,
hiking,
yes,
bird watching,
yes,
maybe even something with the shooting sports.
For sure.
You can find out with here on Outdoors with Larry Ray. So without further ado, the one and only, the oracle of the outdoors, Larry Ray.
Oh, Frank, that's why we want to let you do that one time a show. I mean, because I'm carried away now. I may just leave and go home.
Got tears in your eye,
yeah,
don't
I got tears. I got a bug in my eye right now. So, but hey, I appreciate Frank Barton is sitting in as our co-host as he does every third Saturday. Makes that long drive across the old bridge or the new bridge. I'm not sure which one he comes.
That's New Bridge now.
Yeah, New Bridge right now to get here, but appreciate it. I'm really excited about this next guest on Outdoors with Larry Ray. Of course, Randy Zellers takes care of us with the Arkansas Game and Fish. And, of course, you folks know I'm from Arkansas, from the Little Rock area, and always happy to welcome a new face to the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. And this next guest is definitely a new face in an area that is a booming sport right now. That's the shooting sports. And we're really happy to have on Outdoors with Larry Ray Jose Jimenez. He is the new Chief of Recreational Shooting Sports for the Arkansas Game and Fish Committee. Good morning, Jose.
Hey, good morning, Larry. Thank you for having me, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. We're going to break you in your new job here. I hope they haven't told you all my dark secrets over there in Little Rock. But been around for a long time, and man, what a story we could spend with Jose right now. You've been on the job how many days now?
As of tomorrow, 8 weeks.
8 weeks. Okay. You talk about being transplanted Arkansan. Jose, talk about how you got this, how you and your family came to Arkansas and took this job. I mean, what made you uproot? Because you're not a local folks. So tell our listeners how did this job appeal to you that you wanted to give up your roots and come to Arkansas?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So first, I'd like to begin with the fact that I've not been deeply rooted anywhere for quite some time.
You haven't. That's right. Yeah.
Yes, sir. I spent 20 years in the Marine Corps and recently retired. So that was back December 31st of 2023. I retired from the Marine Corps. And so that afforded me the opportunity to travel across the country and overseas. And so, in typical fashion of Marines and just the military in general, I mean, I never spent more than 2 to 3 years in any location, right? Wow. So, being a transplant here in Arkansas is not anything that's uniquely foreign to me, as I've been accustomed to moving quite some time now, right?
And you've been, as I read this thing about you, and we'll get into the thing, born in Brooklyn, okay.
Yes, sir.
Marines at 17 in the Marines. You served in Kuwait, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan. You've lived in farms. You've lived in a tiny house and things along this line. So December, you retire from the Marines. Arkansas opens up for you. What's it been like for 8 weeks, and what's the kick that you like about this job you got?
I think it combines a few things that I'm extremely interested in, right? So having a Marine Corps background, I've got what I like to call a lot of trigger time.
Yes.
I actually spent 3 years with the Marine Corps shooting teams as a gunsmith, and I got to compete and shoot in, multiple competitions with them.
Yeah.
I also spent 7 years with Marine Special Operations, so again, I am an avid shooter myself. I'm traditionally more of a pistol and rifle shooter, but I enjoy all disciplines. And, growing up, I didn't have these opportunities, right? In the inner city back in New York, these aren't things that we were able to partake in.
No.
Yes, sir. And I've always enjoyed working with children and the youth. And let's be honest. It sounds like a cliche, right? But children are our future, right?
That's right, yeah.
And so when this opportunity was presented to me, it seemed like I was able to combine my love for children and giving back to our communities with something that I enjoy as a hobby. And so it just seemed like a great fit.
And this sport itself, the recreational shooting sports, so many kids are getting involved in this, Jose. What's your first line of duty here that you're hoping to accomplish in 2024?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So really establishing what this division looks like, right? So traditionally in the past, recreational shooting sports for Arkansas Game and Fish Commission has been kind of an afterthought, right? It was a small project that fell under education, but it wasn't really given the love that I think it deserved.
Yeah.
So this first year, although we've got certain, some successful programs to include the youth shooting sports program, the archery in the schools program, this first year, I really just want to do some data collection and do some assessments of where some of our shortfalls are.
Yeah.
That way we can start actioning and investing into the R3, that recruitment, retention, and reactivation phases of our programs next year.
Well, how did Christine feel about this? You got some kids there. You got 3 kids about coming to Arkansas. Did you look it up and know where we were? I want to make sure. You've lived everywhere, buddy. The song could be "I've been everywhere." So
absolutely.
So what's it been like? Is your family here yet? Are you still?
They are. They are. We actually, I flew back to California 2 weeks ago, and as of last week, we drove back here. My family's in town. They made it just in time to view the eclipse here, and 100% totality. So that was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. When the opportunity was first brought up to us, I kind of laughed it off because Arkansas was one of those places that I'd never been to.
Yeah. Unusual.
But but like you said, I did a ton of research, and more, it grew on us. And, my wife is, if she had the opportunity to do it full time right now and we had all the resources, she would 100% delve into homesteading. Right?
She really? Yeah. Okay.
She is huge into the outdoors. My kids are the same way. I think you mentioned it earlier. We lived on a 140-acre ranch in California.
Yeah.
Prior to coming out here, we had a small nature center with all sorts of animals, from peacocks to swans to donkeys and pigs.
Okay. Yeah.
And so, the type of lifestyle that Arkansas affords and provides is something that we're extremely interested and really want to live.
Well, I think you said our kids are sort of free range. I think you said right there, and
yes, sir.
And they've actually lived in one of those tiny homes, 389 square foot home. All of y'all.
Absolutely. So we actually started off, many years ago, my wife convinced me to just be more intentional about family time.
Yeah.
Because I was gone. I spent so much time on the road and gone in the Marine Corps that, she just wanted us to kind of focus on the family and not material things and building up a larger home. And so we actually lived in an RV for 4 years as kind of a test bed.
Yeah.
It was kind of a test bed and a stepping stone to figure out if we could do this small living full time, and it worked out. And so, as of last year, we upgraded and built a custom tiny home, and that's where we're at now.
Well, I know you're going to love Arkansas. The folks are great. You may have to learn to call the hogs, Jose. I can't help you that because I'm a Razorback fan. So get ready for that. Don't let the kids get scared off by that. But the position itself, I think you said there's only 4 of y'all now. Is that right?
Yes, sir, it is.
You're going to hit you've hit the ground running because you're going to be all over the state, right?
Already have.
Have
yes,
you?
Sir.
Where have you visited? Tell me some places. Where?
So I've been up to Calico
Rock
Magazine.
Oh, right.
Yes,
Mountain Magazine. All right.
Mountain Magazine. I've been. Yesterday I was up at Southern Arkansas University.
There you go, in Magnolia. All right.
Yes, sir. The day prior to that, I was over at the Rick Evans Grandview.
Yes.
The shooting complex over there, and let's see, that's in Columbus, Arkansas.
Yeah.
I've been to Jacksonville. I've been to Jonesboro. I've been quite a few places already.
Well, if you need to know where to eat, just ask me. Okay, I'm from North Little Rock, so I know all those places like that. And you need to go to Calico Rock and catch some trout too. Well, if you're going up there, make those folks let you have some fun too. Okay, Jose? Because
yes, sir.
They don't call it the natural state for nothing, but. We appreciate you, buddy, and we'll be talking. Buddy, that's what we call people down here in the South. If you didn't know, I didn't want to confuse you with our language down here. But a man as well-traveled as you, but the folks are great over there. I know your director is a wonderful guy, and I'm really happy to welcome you to our area, and we'll stay in touch. We got your cell phone. And we want to talk on down the road once you get broken in, okay, man? All right?
Yes, sir. I'm available, and I'm happy to be here. And anything that I can do to promote recreational shooting and just get more people involved and hopefully usher them into hunting and fishing, I'm here for it.
Well, we're going to spend more than one segment with you next time, all right? Okay?
Yes, sir.
We got to get you over to Memphis. It's right across the river. You know where we are, don't you? I mean, yeah.
Yes, sir.
You got to come see.
I've been to Tennessee as well.
You got to come see Elvis sometime, okay? All right.
Okay.
All right, Jose. Thank you. Have a great weekend, buddy. Thank you. All right.
Hey, you do the same. Thanks again, Larry.
All right. Jose Jimenez. All right, let's take a break on Outdoors with Larry Ray. We'll wrap this up. We're going to carp fishing now. You never know, do you, Frank?
Everything you'd want to find about outdoors, you can hear about it on Outdoors with Larry Ray.
Was that a good story right there? Right. Yeah. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 AM.
Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife and Resources Agency.
Hey, good Saturday morning. Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray and what we call the fastest 90 minutes in outdoor radio programming. I don't know if Frank Barton will agree with that today, but we've kind of breezed through it, Frank.
It still is the fastest 90 minutes.
It's still the fastest 90 minutes. It may take you longer than that to get back to Marion, but I hope not. Appreciate Frank being with us on the third Saturday of each month as a co-host, and look forward to next week's show when Ron Wong will be back in, and we'll be talking fishing. But we're going to get ahead of that because we're going to talk to a gentleman right now about a subject that a lot of y'all don't think we talk about enough on here. Well, this guy does, and he's been on the show before. He's a longtime hunter education instructor. He's won about every award you could have as a hunter education instructor, whether it's a regional or it's a state or it's a national or whatever it might be. And that's our good friend John Torchick. Good morning, John.
Good morning.
Let's talk Let's talk carp fishing, man. I mean, you're the man on that, so you talked about it, and a lot of people say, "Nah, I don't know about this carp fishing. I don't know about this carp fishing." So.
Oh, it's the best, one of the best kept secrets in the country.
Well, let's let it out a little bit here because we don't keep secrets around here. But you've been at it a while. What's the appealing part of this for you?
They're big fish.
They are big fish. They are.
Yeah. On the average, I'd say if you were looking for carp, fishing for carp anywhere in the state of Tennessee, that you're going to wind up with fish anywhere from the low teens. The state record is just a little over 53 pounds. It was caught in Maribone Lake there at Jolson, just outside of Nashville.
It was.
And what's unusual, what is unique about that? The lake is only 65 acres.
And it was 53 pounds.
53 pounds, yeah.
So what's the biggest John Torchick has caught?
I caught one that was 25 pounds even, and it was caught in the below the locks there at Watts Bar Dam several years ago.
Well, the carp, as we know, with our good friends in England, it's a cherished fish. because I've talked with people over there before, but it gets a rough reputation. I know that's a pun, but it gets a rough reputation. But what's the kick for you besides getting a chance to be a big fish? I guess it's a chance to tussle with one of those things too, right?
It is. It can be a challenge. Basically, in fishing with carp, they will put up a fight. A lot of people think, well, just like dragging a wet towel through the water. No, it's not. It's gonna take you into some backing, or take some line off your rod, off your reel, and it's not going to be something you're just going to pull in right away. They are going to fight. They are going to be a lot of fun.
Okay, so what are we using here? Now, are you bank fishing? I mean, when you do it, I mean, you're bank fishing primarily, or are you in a boat? What's the preference here?
99% of the carp fishing here in the country is bank fishing.
It's from the bank fishing.
There are a few that will fish from a maybe anchor along the shore somewhere and fish from a boat, but primarily it's bank fishing. That's the one thing about the carp fishing is you don't need a boat.
So what do you need?
All you need is a place to set up, put out a little bit of like sweet corn or something like that, to kind of draw them in.
Yeah.
You sit back and wait, and when you hear that reel go, zzz, you got him.
What does the reel do again? I like that. What does that reel do? Z.
How's that?
I like that. Okay, so what's the equipment you're using now?
Well, basically, now when I started, I was using I'm trying to remember the brand of it. It's a flipping stick, it's a telescoping flipping stick.
Yeah, a flipping stick. Okay, yeah.
And a lightweight spinning outfit.
Yeah.
Let me say lightweight saltwater outfit that belonged to my father.
Oh.
The thing about carp fishing is you can go the gamut. I did a little survey, I guess you might say, online, and you can actually get into carp fishing for less than about $100.
Okay.
But 90% of the people that live here in Tennessee and fish in one way or another have already got everything in the closet or the rod rack and ready to go.
But you need to have a certain kind of rod, I would imagine. A stiff rod, with a pretty stout line, too. And I guess, and your bait, and you just talked about sweet corn. I mean, you're talking about bait that's almost like, I hate to say this, but it's almost like catfishing.
Just about, yeah. Just about. You're fishing on the bottom, waiting for them to come along. One of the favorite baits and one of the most popular baits is people just use plain old canned sweet corn. Use a hook of about maybe an 8 or 10, something like that. Put 2 or 3 kernels on it.
Yeah.
Put a synchro. Now let me describe one of my rigs.
All right, do it.
Take the main line.
Yeah.
Put an egg sinker on.
Okay.
Then I put a barrel swivel on that. Then tie a short length of line, maybe anywhere from 8 to 10, maybe 15 inches long.
Yeah.
And tie the hook to that.
And then
it's very simple. Then you put the sweet corn on the hook.
Yeah.
You toss it out, and you're ready to go.
Toss it out. Now, I mean, that's a pretty good toss.
Yeah.
And it gets. Do you eat these things, John? I mean, is this just a sport fish? But you don't put it on the grill or anything.
There are people that do, and if you go online on YouTube and so forth, there are people that do eat carp. Carp in Eastern Europe is considered a delicacy.
It is
around the
Yeah.
Christmas holidays.
Yeah.
And but the thing is, a lot of people there do eat carp, but at the same time, there's a lot of people that practice catch and release.
Yeah.
Just like bass fishing, you know, you put it back and catch it again, man. It's a little bit bigger.
Catch it again.
I know fellas that have found carp that have a specific scale pattern, and they have caught them repeatedly over the years. And of course, each one is, you know, grows a little bit different, a little bit in weight. In England, specifically, that they keep track of the weight of the fish, and even some of the fish over there even have names.
They do.
And what they will do is they will say, "Well, I caught caught Oliver the other day, and he weighed 26.4. And then somebody else come along a few months later and say, "Well, I caught Oliver, and he was 28 pounds." So,
well, a lot of people they're driving. Truck drivers are going down Interstate 55 right now, and he's talking about carp, isn't he? I mean, on the radio, he's talking about carp because it's really we don't talk about it a whole lot. You know, we talk bass and panfish and all these different kind of things. If we talk about carp, we're going to talk about what we're talking about, the bad carp in the Kentucky Lake and in the Mississippi River, the what we call the silver carp and things along that line. Yeah. But you're basically you're talking about big head carp and the family of the carp, right? I mean,
what I'm talking about specifically is the common carp.
The common carp. Okay.
Cyprinus carpio. And the one that you're talking about, the silver carp, grass carp, big head carp, and the black carp, or what is considered the Asian carp, invasive.
Yes.
I wrote an article for Richard Sims on News Channel 9 a couple of years ago on that. And they do have a negative aspect, but the common carp was brought here into the United States in the early 1800s as a food source for the growing immigrant population.
That's what, okay.
And it has, actually, the common carp has been here in the United States years before the German brown trout was brought in. It's become naturalized as part of the ecosystem.
Well, John, I got to admit, how'd you get into this? Because most people think, well, I'm not going to, I guess that would rank probably 8 out of about 10 fish that I want to fish for. The carp, it gets a bad rap a lot of times. Let's just admit it. It's not a glamorous fish. So how in the world did John Torchick get into this?
Well, I was on caught my first official carp back in October of 2012. I caught 3 carp that weighed an even 34 pounds.
Come on, okay, yeah.
And I was on the Carp Anglers Group website, I guess it would be, and corresponded with a couple guys through that. And one fellow invited me to come up to Kingston, Tennessee, and fish the river just below the power plant.
Yeah.
And that's where I caught my first 3 official carp. In fact, Willem told me that there are actually people that have come from Europe to fish that particular area there because there is a good carp fishery.
Come all the way from Europe to fish for carp in Tennessee.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So
but then there are people in the United States that go over to England and France and places like that to fish over there.
For the common carp. And so have you named your carp now? Are you in the name carp business?
Sir?
Are you naming the carp you catch when you put them back? There goes Joe.
No, I've not named them. I've not really had an opportunity. There has been a couple occasions here fishing where I fish on the Hiwassee.
Yeah.
That a couple of us have caught the same carp in the same day.
In the same day, yeah.
Yeah, but it's rare that happens.
So you think that 53-pounder will ever be broken?
I would say that it is. I would say that it will be broken. I've heard stories about people catching or getting hold of carp that would be 40 plus. I would think that there are fish. It's sort of like, Larry, it's sort of like catfish.
Yeah.
You go to the Tennessee River, the Cumberland, and somebody pulls in a 50-pound catfish or something.
Yeah.
And then you always wonder, you kind of scratch your head and think, well, you look out in the river there, and I just wonder if there's one that's bigger than that.
Yeah. Well, I think the next one, John, I hope you catch a big one, but we appreciate you being on. This is John Torchick. And if people want to find out more about carp fishing, where do they go here, John? Where do they go look for him?
You can go online to carpanglersgroup.com. They have a public website. And if you're a member, they also have a Facebook page available for members.
Carpanglers.com, is that right?
Carpanglersgroup.com.
Group.com. John, thank you, buddy. Always been good to talk to you, man. I always like to talk carp with you. You have a great weekend.
Okay.
You have a great weekend, John. Thank you, man.
Thank you. You too. Thank you, Larry. Take care now.
Bye-bye. All right, let me tell you about next week's show. We finish it up with a carp man. Ron Wong will be in the studio. We got some surprise guests. We're trying to hook up with a guy that just won $100,000 bass fishing, and he's from Union City. I'm not going to tell you any more about that, but congratulations to John Garrett. And we're going to try to talk to him pretty soon on Outdoors with Larry Ray. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you, Shelby. This is Larry Ray reminding you to do each and every week. It doesn't cost an extra cent to be a good sport. And what else, Frank?
God bless the USA.